Hey, my lovely goal-getters. Welcome to the Moms Making Money Show. I'm your host, Amie Pederson, business mentor and confidence coach for the emerging boss mom. It's my mission to help amazing women just like you up-level yourself and your business because you are meant for more than wiping boogers and folding laundry. I'm also a wife, mother, urban farmer, influencer, green juice enthusiast, and an unapologetic lover of cowboy boots. I can't wait to help you grow your business by sharing my tips, tricks, proven business strategy, experience, and incredible guests. Hang on tight and enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by ButcherBox. This is an amazing service of being able to skip the store and spend more time on what's really important, our families. This is a company that I use to get my meat delivered, free delivery, right to my front door. Every single box that I get every month is made specifically based on my customization. I get to pick everything that goes in there. And I get to do so confidently knowing that 100% of my animal protein is coming from 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, heritage breed pork, and free-range organic chicken. All of it is amazing. I also love knowing that none of these animals are ever given hormones or antibiotics. I love that they have partnered with small farms and that they're able to deliver this meat to us for less than $6 a meal. Plus, it's always free shipping. And the way that they're able to save us money is because they're skipping the middleman. They're skipping the store. So all of that markup that we typically see on grass-fed and grass-finished products and organic chicken and sustainably raised meat and animal proteins, all of that has been removed because everything comes straight from them to your front door. And it's super important to me as an animal lover, as somebody who lives on a little mini farm myself, that all of these animal proteins have been naturally and responsibly raised and fed. This is a huge deal for me, but it also makes the quality of the meat so much better. We get tons and tons of compliments every time we prepare a meal for somebody else, as well as just loving it ourselves. We've used ButcherBox for our Thanksgiving turkey, as well as the prime rib for Christmas, and we just love it. So if you want to give it a try, use coupon code AP10, like Amie Pederson 10, and they'll give you $10 off your first box, as well as they'll give you a free package of bacon in your order. Okay, so we have one of my incredible biz besties today on the phone, and well, I guess we're connected on the computer, but whatever. I have the lovely Kelly McFadden here, and she is a spiritual mindset coach, and she is incredible. So I had to share her with you guys, and it's taken us a while to connect because we live on opposite sides of the country, and our time zones typically throw us off. But Kelly, I am so glad that we were able to connect today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started on this journey to becoming a female entrepreneur and a spiritual mindset coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, thank you for the lovely introduction.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited we're finally able to make this time work. And I'm excited to talk to everyone today. So yeah, what got me started was, I'm 34 years old. I've been in my career, my day job, if you will, for 10 years. And I work in pharmaceutical advertising, and I'm good at my job. I've been doing a good job. My clients love me. Everyone at work loves the work I do. But I was feeling very, very unfulfilled. I don't necessarily jive with the purpose of pharmaceuticals. But, it's kind of that thing, like, this is my job. This is what I'm good at. So I decided to kind of venture out and see what would fill my cup, what would help me to feel like I was doing something good in the world. What is my purpose? How can I feel fulfilled from a job and a career? So that was one part of sort of what launched me into exploring being an entrepreneur. and starting my own business. And then what melded me to become a spiritual mindset coach, because let me tell you, I was all over the map. This journey of figuring out what your thing is, it is a journey. And if anyone tells you they woke up one day and knew that this was the one thing you wanted to do, like there's so many things. Like I started out in an MLM, and then I thought I was going to be helping women with business, like kind of what you do, right? With like the technical stuff. And then I thought maybe I would just be reading oracle cards for people. And it was just like, well, you know, because you had to listen to me go through all of it, trying to figure out what is that thing that fills me up and that I really want to like leave a mark on the world with. And I realized for years and years, I've struggled with anxiety and self-esteem issues. And I have done, if I do say so myself, an incredible job at working through that with myself. And I saw how, and other people would comment on like how they see this big change in me and like, wow, you're so calm, or just the way that like I would have conversations with friends and with business buddies, you know, like thinking about things differently. And I realized that that was what I was good at. I realized that the mindset piece was what I was on fire passionate about. Even when I was doing Beachbody, like I was more attracted to working with the women who were working with me in the health and fitness world. I was more interested in talking to them about their mindset. And that's how it kind of all evolved to kind of where I am now.
Well, I can speak firsthand that you've been freaking so good at all of those things, the mindset stuff, and even, you know, working those oracle cards and everything into all of that mindset coaching. For those of you guys who don't know, and probably most of you guys don't, I've utilized Kelly for the last year, probably year and I guess we're going on a year and a half, to help me with some of my mindset stuff. And her calls are incredible. So that's why I felt like I just had to share her with you guys, like I said. Let's talk about, so a lot of times we're doing all the things in business. And I see this a lot, and I hear this a lot from people who either work with me or want to work with me, that they're doing what they think they need to do. They feel like they're doing all the things, right? They feel like, oh, I've set up my funnel. I've gotten into all of these programs. I've bought everything and I feel like I'm doing everything, but I'm just still not finding any success in my business. Let's talk a little bit about how some of the work that you do kind of flows into that, even with all that strategic stuff set up, how the mindset stuff really comes into play.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that you brought that up. That is exactly what I'm working with my clients on right now. That's what I'm passionate about in this moment. Because I've been there, my God, I have hired the coaches and literally like followed everything to a T that I was supposed to. But like I have programs that I created. They're done. They're completely done. And I spent the $1,000 on Facebook ads, and I did what the coaches told me to do. And I was like, why am I not getting the results? And I went through this a lot. I am a doer. I'm a hard worker. I show up. If someone tells me to do something, I will do it, and I will try to do it the best to my ability. That's just innately in me. And I thought, because that worked in my career, that was like in my day job, that would work in this business.
Right.
I thought that's because that's how I got through college. That's how I got through high school, that was going to work here. And I would say I quickly realized, but I didn't quickly realize it. Over time, I realized that it's very different. Because when you're doing this business on your own, if you don't believe that something can be easy, that you are going to succeed, if you don't believe in your abilities and that you are the expert in this area, then it will never happen. There's no possible way that it will happen. You can hustle, but it's like, when I always think of that phrase when it was, in like the health and fitness world, where it's like, you can't eat or you can't out exercise a bad diet, right? So it's like you can
Right.
work out all day long, literally all day long, 7 days a week. But if you're going to eat pizza and cake and ice cream also every day a week, guess what? You're not going to lose weight or you're not going to get
Right.
the results you want. It's the same thing, right? You can hustle and you can do all the things. You can hire all the coaches. Shit, you can even hire people to do the stuff for you. But if your mindset's not there and you don't have that like unshakable belief in yourself and in maybe something higher, if that's your jam, and you're working on that mindset of what is available to you, what is possible for you, then it's like you can't have it. It's not going to work. So that's like, to me, one of the biggest things that I see so many women struggle with, and they feel burnt out and overstretched and tired, right? Because you're like, I've done so many things. What else can I possibly do? If you tell me to do it, I'll do it. I was there. I was like, if someone told me, Kelly, pay me $10,000, I'll give you a checklist. And if you follow this checklist, it will work. I would be like, all right, here's my savings account. Like, I will follow your directions. But it didn't work because my mindset wasn't working for it. I didn't think it could happen that way. I wanted to outwork the system, or I wanted to outwork it. And it doesn't work, and at least from what I've seen in this world of having your own business.
Yeah. So one thing that I think comes up, and I'll use this as example because I know we've talked about it, and it's something that, totally outing myself here, but something that I faced struggle with is sometimes even something that we would never relate to business can jam up our business. So something like body image.
Yep. Yeah.
Like I felt like, oh my God, so, they talk about like that freshman 15 because you're studying and you're eating pizza and drinking beer and doing all the things when you join college. And, you're finally out of your mom's house and she's not telling you to eat broccoli,
right.
That kind of,
easy math all day.
right. And you're in hustle mode and, between getting from class to class and study. And then obviously you have to make all that priority time for partying. And, I feel like the same thing happens to a lot of business owners. So not just myself, but kind of a lot of women who I speak to outside of health and fitness, of course, kind of across the board, where, you almost gain weight when you're starting your business because you're like, oh, I'm going to put all my self-care stuff on the back burner. I'll work out later. I'll work out when I'm already a 7-figure earner. I'll do that later, instead of treating yourself right now as that 7-figure person who does do the workouts. It's easy to put all that stuff off because you get into hustle mode. Mm-hmm. And that hustle mode, like that nonstop hustle mode, drives you on like the super express lane fast track into burnout.
It's so funny that you said like, it's almost like the freshman 15, because I've certainly gained 15 pounds since making my business a priority. So I understand that. And I'm glad you brought that up again, because I have two things to say on that. So the first thing is, as women, we tend to think we can do it all. Okay. Right. And we've talked about this 1,000 times. We think we can do it all. We think that we have all these dreams, especially women who are starting their own business. If you are a woman who believes in yourself enough to start your own business, you are an ambitious woman. You are motivated. You probably have been a high achiever your whole life. So it's natural for you to think that you can do it all. So you want to lose some weight, you want to start a business, you got to show up in your life as a mother, as a wife, as a sister, whatever you are, you're still also a human. You still have that part. And if you're building your business and working, you're showing up at your day job.
Yeah.
It is not humanly possible for us to give 100% in all of those areas. It's not.
Right. And
we think that we're failing when we don't. At least most of the women I speak to are like, I'm failing here. And I'm like, but you're not failing. You're not failing at all. You only have 100% to give. So you can't give 100% everywhere. So right. To anyone who does struggle with that weight gain during launching your business, give yourself a break, man. You can't give everywhere. Yes, you need to pay attention and you still have to have that self-care, but do it small. Don't say, right. You know what, I'm launching my business and I'm also going to like I did this. I'm launching my business. I'm also going to start eating paleo, and I'm going to start my paleo eating with a 3-day juice cleanse. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
Like
You're
my
like going
coach,
all in crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
my coach at the time, when I told her that, was like, are you crazy, Kelly? She was like, why are you doing this to yourself? And I was like, I should be able to do everything. And she was like, what if someone else told you that? And I tell them they were crazy. And she was like, okay. So first thing there, like, give yourself a break and know that it's okay that you can't give 100% everywhere. It's just not possible.
Right.
So you have to sort of make deals with yourself, right? Like, I'm just going to make sure I work out 20 minutes a day so I feel better. So that was the first point I wanted to make, because it's something that I think is really important to highlight. And the second point is, you're spot on with when we're trying to launch our business and we're trying to see results from our business, we tend to only think about what's my money mindset, what's my business mindset, and that type of thing. When in fact, like when we were talking, it turned out, so what I like to do, and this is something I do in my free calls that, I'm happy to offer to anyone, is uncover what your actual limiting belief is, that's
Right.
keeping you stuck. Because most of the time, it's nearly impossible to figure it out on your own, because it's hardwired in you and you don't see it because you're living it. So when I talk with women, and just something like the weight or the body image comes up, it's like, do you realize that might be affecting your business in a way that you didn't realize? Because you maybe, like with your body image, you didn't feel worthy, right? Because you didn't feel
Right.
that you were at your best, that you weren't looking like you did when you felt really, really sexy and like confident in your body. So there was an underlying feeling of unworthiness. So you weren't showing up to your business feeling that you were worthy and deserving because you didn't think your body was. So
Right.
it's all very connected. And I find very often that it's connected to what's going on in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like either, your romantic relationships, or like a relationship with someone in your family, and always just sort of thoughts about yourself. It's not always business related. And then it's just, you have to go deeper sometimes. And it's always like this, like, aha, I can't believe I didn't connect those dots. But it's really hard to connect the dots on your own.
Right. Right. Yeah. I feel like we go into things and that we feel a lot of times like, okay, we can do everything. We can do it ourselves. I feel like that's just the way that women's brains are wired in combination with how we're raised in society.
Mm-hmm.
And so we take on all these things, even when they're not realistic. So I feel like having somebody like you who can kind of like call us out on it when we need it. Because let me tell you, we need it. And I feel like that's the same thing, even if you have a business mentor, they can call you out on, hey, you didn't do the things that you said you were going to do, or, whatever that looks like. But just having somebody, who gives you that outside opinion, they give it to you with love,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to just kind of take it for what it is and be like, oh, that really is jamming me up. Because there's people who have this kind of underlying fear of being successful. They have a fear of success. And when you talk about that with people, there's a lot of different things that come up. Like, I'm afraid that I'll lose my family because they have issues around money,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm afraid that, I'll spend money on a beautiful designer purse and somebody will steal it. There's so many different things that come up that people never think about when they get going in their business, including body image, including all the things that I feel like it's an ongoing work in progress.
It is. It totally is. And the fear of success is a really big one, I think, because you don't realize how much your thoughts about success, like you don't realize what you're fearing, right? So for me, I have, and this is one thing I'm working through, like, can I have a successful business the way I want it, this dream business, and a relationship and a family life that I want. Um,
Right.
because I have been raised in whatever the way society, whatever it is that got in my head at some stage in the game said you have to pick. It's one or the other. So then
Right.
holds me back from going, having this business that is taking off in the way that like I want it to, because I'm afraid of being alone, because I'm afraid of not being able to have the family or losing a relationship. And those are some heavy things. And it's really important to have a coach to help you walk through it. And that's also where part of, you introduced me as a spiritual mindset coach. That's where a lot of the spiritual woo-woo, if you will, things come into play. And that's where I use those types of tools to help me and my clients work through and kind of feel a little bit lighter, like you're not alone. Not only do you have a coach, but you also have the universe or God or whatever that higher power is to you on your side. That's where, for myself, and when I do those, the calls to uncover the limiting beliefs, I always pull a card after for guidance on like what will help you to get past this limiting belief. And I'm also pretty intuitive, so I can usually quickly uncover someone's limiting belief just by having a 15-minute phone call with them and just like, holding that space for them and listening to them. So I really like to mix. I feel like there's two parts of me, right? The
Right.
like very action oriented, here's the things that you need to do. But then I have this very like woo woo part where spiritual part where I do lean into the universe and I do believe everything happens for a reason. I do believe in the law of attraction. So it's a nice combination of those two things. Because I feel that with, the women I work with, they're usually women somewhat like me, like high achievers are going to get all the things done. And that's never going to go away. And there's nothing wrong with it. You just need to soften it a little bit.
Right.
And have these kind of fun tools, right? Because some mindset stuff is really hard. It's so hard and it's heavy. And it's such a nice relief to be like, I know that if I meditate for 10 minutes or if I use this mantra, or I can go pick up this crystal that like I'll get a little bit of relief. This will help me through. This will guide me through. I'm not on my own. I don't have to like head down and bulldoze through. So that's really how I like to look at it. I don't know how I got here. This is usually what happens with me. I just start talking. I'm like, what question did you ask me?
I don't know. I went down the rabbit hole with you.
I always go down rabbit holes. So I'm going to bring myself back out. So hopefully that answered whatever question you just asked.
I love it. I love it. Tell me a little bit about some of the obstacles that you faced when you first decided to become a female entrepreneur.
Sure. So many. One was definitely, I guess I would call it like being afraid of telling my family because this is a risk. I come from a very risk averse background. And it's risky. And a lot of people, what they do is, and you have to, realize that it comes from a place of love and concern from them. But either way, like, I don't want to tell someone something and have them tell me I'm going to fail or that it's dumb.
Right.
And like when I told all of my friends, like that one day you get up that courage and you send that email to your close group of college friends and you're like, guys, I'm going all in. Like, here's the deal. And you tell them about it. And I get a response back from someone who's like, please don't quit your job. This is silly. Like, those are things that will really make you pause, because you work really hard on building up confidence. And then it would, one doubt from someone else would like kick my feet out from under me. So that was something that I faced a lot. A lot of people like who were really close to me and whose opinion at the time, if you're not getting that, mattered to me, showed a lot of concern and kind of asked me not to do it. So that was a really, really big obstacle. And I think a lot of people go through that. It's not typical. I think we still live in a world that wants women to be in a certain role, and it makes other people uncomfortable. So I have a tendency toward people pleasing.
Yeah.
Like I really, it's hard for me to, feel like I'm rocking the boat or upsetting someone. So that was something else I had to really, really deal with. Putting myself first and knowing that, hey, this is my life and this is a business that I want to run for myself. The people pleasing came into play for me a lot too. So kind of
Yeah.
having doubts thrown at me by other people, and then battling the people pleasing because I don't want to disappoint my dad. I don't want my mom to be embarrassed of me. I don't want my friends to think I'm out of my mind,
Right.
So those were some of the first obstacles I would say, that I had to overcome.
Yeah. I feel like the fear of like what other people think is probably like the leading fear
Mm-hmm.
of people stepping out, because a lot of times I feel like people, because it is different, it's, not that normal 9 to 5 job that we're, you know, systemically trained from birth to look forward to. Um, it's different and it is changing. And I feel like over time, we're getting more support and people are starting to get more used to it. But I also sometimes feel like there's almost a generation gap. Like
Yeah.
my mom's super supportive, but she has no idea what the hell I do.
Yes, exactly.
She thinks it's awesome, or like when I get like a magazine feature or something, she's like, "Yay, I'm so excited." But she doesn't
What
know,
magazine
like,
is this? Like,
yeah, and she's
yeah.
like, I don't know, like, she has no idea what I talk to my clients about. She's like, "Oh, she helps people start businesses." She doesn't have any idea, like, what really goes into the work that I'm doing. And that's okay. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely, I definitely think there's like a gap there. And I also think sometimes, not, so this was huge for me, and you know this about me. And I think a lot of women do it, right? You try to do it all on your own. Like I know when I was starting my business, there were times that I didn't even want my boyfriend who I live with to know I was working on it. Like I didn't want him to know. Like I was
Yeah.
like, so I wouldn't be working on it unless I knew he was going to be working late. And then I'd be like, okay, I have an hour and a half till he gets home. I'll work on it. Then the door opens and I'd be like, nope, done. Or like, you know what I mean? So that was like the people pleasing part of me trying to keep him comfortable because it was a concern of his, and we're working through it. But like that was something that came up, and I think a lot of women who start this sometimes are like literally in the closet about their business for a little while. And it's just
Yeah.
very interesting. Like people are like, I'm not ready to tell my mom. I'm not ready to tell my sister. I can't post that on my Facebook wall. Like, what the hell is so and so from college going to say? So it's almost like it's like coming out of the closet, because it does make some people uncomfortable. And what it does is it triggers them and makes them think about their lives and what they're doing. And if they can't be happy, man, they don't want you to be happy. That's just sort of how it
Right.
goes, subconsciously or consciously. Misery loves company, right? So to
Yep.
see someone stepping out and saying, I will not settle and accept, like, hey, this might be great for you. This, cookie cutter high school, college, career, marriage, like to step out and say like that's not for me, makes the people who did do it that way feel, it shakes them a little bit, and they start questioning themselves, and no one wants to question themselves. So that was
Right.
something that I really had to wrap my head around and understand that everyone is always just a reflection of how they're feeling, and it's triggering some sort of feeling in them, and it's truly not personal. Like I can't take it personally, and I no longer do. So it feels amazing when you like do step out of that closet and you kind of come out and you're like, I really don't care. It does take
Mhm.
time to get there, and it took me time, and it also took, not trying to do everything on my own, not trying to hide what I was doing, and knowing and being smart and resourceful, right? I couldn't find the people to support me in my family, and that's okay. In my group of like quote unquote real life friends,
Right.
that I see. So like me, you and I are like talk every single day. So I found
Yeah.
people across the country. I found people in other countries. I joined some online communities. I got in a mastermind with other women who I could connect with, and having that support system and having being like my normal day now involves talking to people across the world, and checking into these, different Facebook groups, or listening to different people's podcasts, where I don't feel alone and I don't feel like I'm the outsider anymore. So it's really important to find a support system if you can't find it in your backyard, more or less.
Right. I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
What would you give the new, or maybe this is something that you give your clients on a regular basis? What tip, like if you could give them one tip, I know I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, I just thought of it. One tip for when they're getting started.
Just one?
Or
I tend to overwhelm people. I'm like, here's all the things you need to know. I need to take a step back and be like, one tip.
Or what was the most useful tip you ever received?
The most useful tip. I really think it's not taking things personally. It's not it's staying strong in your beliefs and what you know is right for you, and not taking other people's fears and doubts and concerns, and maybe they're even rude to you. Learning that it's truly not personal, even if they personally attack you, understanding that it's because of something, some sort of dissatisfaction or pain or shame that they have, and kind of learning to just almost see it like, I don't know if you've ever read like Gabby Bernstein's The Universe Has Your Back, but like seeing them through like a lens of love, that was something that was like a really big shift for me, because when we're in defense mode and we feel like we have to defend ourselves all the time, or we're feeling resentful and angry, you can't show up authentically. You can't show up the way you want. So for me, like learning not to take it personally and understand that it's someone projecting their insecurities and their fears on me, really helped, because it makes you feel like it's okay to still do what I'm doing. That person just, they actually probably really need love. It's not my job to love them. It's not my job to correct them or defend what I'm doing, but I also don't need to let them kind of kill my vibe. So I think it's, without getting, if it's not like a spiritual term, but it's really just not taking things personally into heart. When people kind of, like I was saying earlier, like throw their doubts at you.
Yeah, I think that is some of the like hands down best advice that we can give people, because it is hard, like I had somebody who I know who I thought was going to be one of my biggest cheerleaders. And because I decided that I was going to pursue my business and not accommodate them in some of these other ways, she basically called me money hungry and followed it up by a very obscene word that I don't actually use. But, it's just kind of like, really, like, you're supposed to be supporting me, like, because it's like the relationship we have with each other, like I was just assuming that support would be built in, and that because I was growing my own business, that she saw me as money hungry, even though I don't see how that's any different than having a job and going there to collect a paycheck.
And wanting to get a promotion and wanting to get a raise. That's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, being able to just be like, all right, well, that's clearly about them and whatever they've got going on. And all of you guys who maybe have said something like that, definitely call Kelly. She'll help you get through it. Or anybody who's been, attacked in that way, like, or attacked in any way. Having somebody like Kelly in your corner who can help you get through it and give you kind of an outside perspective, like if you have a squabble with like a sibling, calling your mom, it's not going to be overly helpful because she can't really take sides, right? And, she's your mom. So you can't, can't get an unbiased opinion. So even though I know most moms try to give unbiased opinions, it's still pretty hard to.
It's not possible.
Yeah. They try. I think they try, but
they sure
they
do.
just can't.
It's not possible. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, having a life coach, having a spiritual mindset coach, I love that. And I love all things like woo woo and crystals, and and a lot of people see me mostly for strategy, but the fact is like I do all these woo woo mindset crystals, cards. That stuff is a huge part of kind of even like my behind the scenes business stuff that I do for myself. I don't offer those services, but it's a part of me building my business. Um, Tell us, Kelly, a little bit. I know you have a free gift for everybody today. Tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about how our listeners can connect with you and work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I absolutely love the free gift. It's called High Vibe in 5. And I'll tell you exactly how I came about creating it. So, like I said, I'm pretty busy. I work a 9 to 5. I'm from Philly, so I don't even have a car, I walk to work. And you're always wanting to do this deep mindset work, and it's hard to fit the time in. It's hard. Like, I don't sit down every day. Like, I literally am a spiritual mindset coach, and I do not do mindset work. I don't sit down and journal for an hour every day. I don't meditate every day because I, honest to God, don't have the time. Could I make the time? Sure. But here's where High Vibe and 5 comes in. When I do carve out that hour of time and I do all the things that I want, like my ideal spiritual practices to like clear my energy, to like raise my vibration, when I do make that time, I want to hold on to it. Right. So
Right.
you're like, I want to feel like this all the time. I want to feel like this every day. But I don't have an hour every day, or it can't, like, it's the middle of the day and I'm in my office and I just walked out of a meeting where like people were complete a-holes, and all of a sudden you feel like crap. And it's like, well, I can't just like be like, hey guys, I got to leave and go meditate. I got to get some Reiki. Like, I can't do that. So
Right.
what I wanted to create, and I created it for myself. And then I was like, I need to tell people about this, is a way that like bottles up that feeling, so that you can tap into it in 5 minutes. High Vibe in 5. So basically, I just walk you through some journal prompts and some different ways to kind of raise your vibration. And then it teaches you how to be your own voice of authority. And I also noticed that what I do, because I walk for commuting, I listen. I'm constantly listening. I have my headphones in. I'm either listening to, I like Audible, I'm listening to a book, or I'm listening to music. And I was like, wait a minute. What if I could listen to myself when I felt in my vibe, when I felt amazing? So I started recording it. I would read my journaling, or after I did something that made me feel really high vibe, I would just record how I'm feeling. I would just be like, I feel like this, da 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 da. You're the best thing ever. My business rocks, da da da. Like all the things. And there's a few other steps to it. But it's basically just a quick process of bottling up that high vibe, so that when on those days when you don't have the time to journal and you don't have the times to have that time to meditate and chill out, that you can just pop your headphones in for 5 minutes and be like, that's where it is. Oh yes, I needed that reminder. And I also love the spin on it, because a lot of times we're listening to, wonderful podcasts like this one, or we're listening to audiobooks, and we're having this like voice of authority tell us all these wonderful things. What if it's your own voice telling you these great things? It's just really powerful.
Yes.
So my freebie is just a guide on how exactly to do this High Vibe in 5. It's a real game changer for women who are busy, and who are hustling and getting from one place to the next, and just sometimes don't have that hour to do the self-care. At least do 5 minutes. Pop it in while you're walking to work. Pop it in after that meeting when you feel stressed, and get yourself back to that place on your own with your own voice. So that is what High Vibe in 5 is.
I love it. And I love the High Vibe in 5. I actually have, I was a founding member of that.
Sure.
So I can speak for it. So awesome. So tell us now how, if somebody here listening today, because we have a lot of listeners, tell us how they can find you in all the places, so they can reach out to you directly, show you some love, follow your awesomeness, and connect with you.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to connect with anyone who, kind of connected or felt like some of the things that I said hit home. So the main place to connect with me is my private Facebook group. It's called High Vibing, High Achievers. In there, I'm always popping in with, just like some live streams. I try to, take polls. We do some woo-woo stuff with like cards and some moon stuff, but also I'm just really trying to help in there, gauge what's going on. What can I help you guys with your mindset? Do some free trainings in there. So that's a great place to connect with me. I'm in there most of the time, multiple times a day, seeing what's going on with all my ladies. And then as well as on Instagram, pretty simple. Everything's really just my name, is at Kel_McFadden. Those would be the main places. And then of course because who isn't attached to their email, I check my email a lot. So emailing me is also totally fine. That's simple as well. It's hello@kelly-mcfadden.com.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, you guys. So let's make sure that we leave an amazing review for Kelly, and definitely make sure that you check out her High Vibe in 5 free offer for us. It's so amazing. And you guys can find her in the places you can find. If you swipe up, you can find the link to her High Vibe in 5.
That was kind of hard to say.
I know, it's a mouthful. But yeah, you can just, swipe up. The link will be in the show notes and you can click it and get right in. So thank you so much, Kelly, for taking the time to be on the show and share your awesomeness with our listeners.
Oh, I'm so grateful for this. And I can't wait to chat with some of you ladies.
Yay. All right. Awesome. We will talk soon.
All right. Bye, Amie.